This one is going to be a different type of video. This is a sort of how to build your own budget home cinema and hopefully make it look something special. Yes, we've finally moved house and here we are in our new home. It's a wider room, it's not longer, but it does mean we get to play with a bigger screen. I'm recording this between Christmas and New Year 2021, so thank you for all the comments wishing us well for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and also wishing us well on our house move. We are finally in our new house and I'm sat here in what is becoming the new home cinema. Throughout this moving process I thought I'd shoot some videos so I could show the old home cinema being dismantled, and this is the first of those sequences where I started dismantling it and the curtains are finally coming off, the red theatrical curtains, which I know so many of you really like to see. So here's an update on how I was taking that apart and how everything really worked. There's the three motors. That one's the red curtains. That one is the side masking, which is just a cardboard with black velvet over it and some black velvet behind so it follows in to cover up all the white as it closes. This is the top and bottom masking here. Again, it's card with black velvet, but this has a plastic frame on it, which I've shown before. Here's the bottom to hold it all together. Did it all as light as I possibly could so that the roller blind, which is behind this static top mask, would be able to handle the weight. And there's the two pieces of string, and you can see clearly there, one is rolled on backwards, one is rolled on forwards, so as one mask goes down, the other goes up. It really is simple. And there's the side mask that comes in on a corded curtain track, almost identical to this corded curtain track for the main curtains. It didn't really take long to take everything out. It was a damn sight quicker taking it out than it was putting it all up, I can tell you. But it did give me an opportunity to revise how I'd done it. And it did surprise me actually some of the fixes I'd put in over the years to make sure that roller blind mechanisms and curtain motor mechanisms didn't get pulled out of the ceiling or out of the wall. And so I'd made good use of little fixes here and there, which I'm going to employ here, and already I've applied one of them. But I thought I'd now show you the whole stripped out cinema as it is, or as it was in its original form when I was working it out. And the first thing I did was simply paint the screen in. So it was just brilliant white emulsion for the white screen, which is the best solution because you've got a perfectly flat surface on a wall. And then I used masking tape to mask that off to about a 16:9 screen and painted the surround in black matte emulsion, and went slightly along the side walls so that any reflections would be minimized. But as it turned out in the end process with the curtains and the masking up there weren't any reflections at all anyway. So this is how it looked, completely stripped out, and this is really how it looked when the whole process started. And so then we set about the move, and it does make you realize when you come to move as a film collector, particularly when it comes to physical film, not video, discs and tape, how much these films actually weigh. Now, I've never really considered it with Super 8 because you get a Super 8 feature on 4 600-foot reels or 6 400-foot reels, maybe 5, and in isolation it doesn't weigh that much. But you put half a dozen of them together and you can barely lift them. So that was something that surprised us, how much this film collection weighed. When it came to 35mm features, well, you put two of those together and it takes two men to lift it. So I don't know how these IMAX features ever get on at the IMAX theatres, but I do know they've got heavy machinery to lift those into place onto the spindles, the reels, onto the spindles. The first shot I took of this new home cinema room, it's about 11.5 by 11.5, and it's not really the ideal shape for a cinema, so there were going to be compromises in here, and we might actually knock a hole in here to house the video projector and perhaps the Super 8, but the 35mm I always knew was going to have to project at an angle, and for the moment, for the time being, I'm projecting the video at an angle, and that has meant the first job was to get the screen up at an angle to minimise the keystoning effect. But this is me on Christmas Day shooting some video in here because my brother had bought me something I really wanted to see. It's all very rough in here at the moment, and unfortunately I couldn't get the size image I wanted with a video projector, so that's sitting out there, and we'll have to project at an angle for a while. We've got longer term plans for this room, which will mean moving that wall over there, which is just a partition wall, and hopefully we'll get an extra 5 or 6 feet then, which will mean the video projector will be in a box up here, and we'll have something like, by the time it's over, 10 or 11 foot wide image down the end. So we'll see what happens there. But as a result of the long throw lens on the video projector, which I specifically wanted because I don't like short throws, I'm having to put the 10 foot wide screen up, and I'm trying to fashion it at a bit of an angle. It'll be a compromise, but I've made up this bracket which is going to go up here, which I'm just doing now. And that will make it sit out not quite to the angle the video projector is, but we'll see if we get rid of any sort of a CinemaScope mumps as a result of projecting at an angle. So minimise it to the most, and then should be okay. This is a modern house, unlike the last one, which is a converted barn and built like a brick house. You know what I'm saying. This is a modern house, so you have to be more cautious. And I don't really know if that's a long-term thing, having those up there. I wasn't expecting the walls to be quite the modern equivalent that they are, so we'll see what happens. But the exit sign should be alright. I don't think that's too weighty. But of course, KEF TDM THX speakers, they weigh half a ton each, even these half-size ones at the back. But no problem with the rest of it. They're floor standing, and on the ground floor should be fine. But therein lies another problem. Still not able to get our entire collection in one place. So we'll see what happens there, but in one bedroom, or what was a bedroom, we've got one complete wall already covered in discs. The screen is up. Didn't actually take too long, but I had to get it done today because my brother, Jimbly Pops, he got me something rather special for Christmas, which was a bunch of discs, one of which was a 4K of No Time to Die. So that rather spurred me on. Wanted to watch that this evening, that's for sure. So we'll see how well this goes. I'll show you the bracket in place, actually, if I can get the camera up there. Yep, so it should stay in the wall, and the screen, although it won't look like it too much from back here, is actually on a bit of an angle. Hasn't eradicated the keystoning effect completely, but it's almost done it, and that's about, I don't know, 8.5 to 9 feet wide that we'll be able to screen it to. I've had to mask off a bit, but I haven't got enough card to do it. Well, not enough card that is all in pieces, so I've done a temporary job there until I can get the masking up, which I think will be the next job. I had to put that pelmet up the top because I really wasn't happy seeing the keystoning effect going off the top, so I've got to take that down. I might be able to fix it in place so it's not got any waves at the top of it, and then that might be done. I'll put the masking on the inside of that. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. After that showing of James Bond, which we did really enjoy, and I suppose I could talk some about that right now. I was hoping that I'd have the time to do a review, but it is a very good 4K disc, and I'll have to look up how they shot it, but I have seen pictures of the directors and the film crew out with genuine IMAX 70mm cameras, so that is why that looks so good. You film anything on 70mm, you put it on a 4K disc, and it's instantly going to be one of the best 4K discs that's out. And with this being on the most modern film stock, this one is certainly no exception. It's a bit of an incoherent film at times really, but who cares when it looks this good and is this exciting. It's so spectacular to look at that, like some of the modern Star Wars films, you can't help but like it. So I might get a chance to do a full review of that sometime soon, but maybe I'll include that in a general James Bond video. We'll see what people want. But anyway, something that may be coming soon. As a result of watching James Bond, it taught me a few things about having the image up too high in a room so you're looking up, and I decided I didn't like that. It really isn't as comfortable as if you've got it in the middle and ideally suited to just watching and enjoying a film. So that's told me that top and bottom masking have got to go in. I just hope I've left the space for them both, so we'll find that out pretty soon. I haven't motorised the side masking yet. I thought I'd get to grips with it completely before doing so, and also perhaps put that top and bottom mask in so I know I've got all the room. Otherwise I might put a motor on, then have to take it off again and resight it, and you know, it's simpler to know exactly what you've got to do before you set about automation. But overall things are beginning to come together. It's already a home cinema. It's not exactly how I want it yet, of course. We've got our top and bottom mask to do, as I said, and the red curtains, which, being as this room is substantially wider than the old home cinema, I've somehow got to extend those red curtains, and the idea I've got is to have a second set of curtains running on the outside of them, maybe some really glitzy things, some really theatrical things that just get pulled along behind the others as they close, and then as they open they go out last. So the theory is simple, whether it's so simple in practice remains to be seen. So it should be an interesting process, and I hopefully will put an update video out soon. Now, before I go and before I forget, a fellow film collector, Super 8, 16, maybe even 35 actually, has put a good video up. Stuart Hilliker has put a good video up of the recent Blackpool Film Collectors Convention. Now, Blackpool is currently, I believe, the biggest film collectors convention in the world. It's not what it once was, and was never really on the same scale to what we attempted to do with the British Film Collectors Conventions, which we're hopefully going to return once COVID-19 is finally consigned to the history books. We'll see what happens there. But he did put a very interesting video out. The first 5 or 6 minutes are of the Saturday evening dinner, which I suppose, unless you were there, people will not find interesting, so perhaps skip through that and get to the Film Collectors Convention itself. And anyone who's interested in taking up film collecting or just having a go with it, take a look at that and you'll see what us film collectors get up to when we all get together. I haven't been up to Blackpool for years. It's always clashed with other things for me, but maybe next year, and maybe also next year or the year after, we'll resurrect the British Film Collectors Convention. So I think that brings us to the end of this update. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the next video, bye bye for now.